Disturbing new report showing ISIS remains a serious threat. The U.S. Defense Department saying about 30,000 ISIS fighters are still active in Iraq and Syria. Mary Kissel is a member of the Wall Street Journal editorial board and a Fox News contributor. What is going on when ISIS numbers have been going down and then we get a number like this? Should we be alarmed?
Well, ISIS numbers are going down in the areas where the United States troops are present east of the Euphrates River in Syria. But remember, Julie, that's the only place where U.S. troops are. And so in places there where Bashar al-Assad controls or Russia and Iranian forces are present, they're still there. And I think one of the mistakes of the administration has been to treat the fight against ISIS as a discrete problem, but it's not. You can't fight ISIS without addressing Assad in Syria, because that's why you still have jihadism in Syria, to fight Assad. You can't address ISIS without looking at the strength of the Iraqi government and that coalition.
But in the bigger picture, we were led to believe that they were down to a couple hundred fighters, perhaps, maybe a couple thousand, but the numbers have been diminished. This report suggests it's much more significant than we thought. I think the numbers vary, but the bottom line here is that this threat is not dead and gone.
No, in fact,
James Mattis says there's hard fighting ahead. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and it's in a much wider geographic area than it was 5 years ago, Bill, too. You're talking about ISIS present in Afghanistan, at least 1,000 fighters there. They're in the Philippines. You'll recall that siege on a small island just within the last year. They're in Indonesia. They're in Africa. So it is a diverse threat. Now, the president deserves credit for taking down the caliphate with the help of Iraqi fighters and our coalition allies in Syria.
Which could have been done 4 years ago, too, you would
Correct.
admit.
It could have been done 4 years ago. But the problem is, again, why is ISIS and al-Qaeda present in Syria? It's because those anti-Assad, pro-democracy Sunni fighters who wanted to ally with the United States were abandoned by us. And so the only people who were going to fight Assad were the jihadis. And so a lot of those fighters are now with ISIS and al-Qaeda.
You know, when you talk about terror and you talk about ISIS and the Taliban, they are like tentacles. They have tentacles. So you talked about Bashar al-Assad. There's also Pakistani's prime minister. They are fueling this fire. You need to go to the top. You don't just go after the terrorists. I mean, what are we doing in order to intervene somehow and to get to these leaders?
Well, look, I think the president has conflicting instincts because he does want to withdraw America from foreign entanglements. But as you saw in Afghanistan, some places we just have to be present. And unfortunately, if we're not there, they would devolve back into another safe haven for terror. Now, you mentioned Pakistan. The incoming Prime Minister, Imran Khan, is a Taliban apologist. And that's a problem for the United States. And I think Afghanistan is a theater that the White House is going to have to focus a lot more attention on in the coming weeks.
It's been a violent week in Afghanistan.
It certainly
headed up by
has.
the offensive of the Taliban in so many different areas, something to watch. Hang on to this comment. James Mattis, Mad Dog, there's hard fighting ahead. That's all there is to it.
We need a strategy, Bill. A bigger strategy.
We'll see when that happens.
Not just killing ISIS. Has to be a larger
Thank you, Mary.
strategy.
See you real soon. Mary Kissel of the Wall Street Journal. Thank
Great
you.
to be with you.